What's up, YouTube interwebs? It's Booty the Drunk Guitarist. I've been waiting and holding off to put out this video until everything cooled down about the Zimmerman verdict. And although things have not really cooled down, a lot of you have gotten to the point where you don't give a shit. And I didn't want to make this video when everybody was all up in arms about it. Now, like I said, a lot of people are still up in arms about it, but most of you don't give a shit anymore. So anyway, what I take from this verdict is there are roughly 4 kinds of people out there that have their opinions on this verdict. And the first kind of people are those that don't care. People like my brother, who would rather watch a Honey Boo Boo marathon all day long as opposed to a trial that involves something of this magnitude. There are those that think this is only about race, like the Department of Justice, our piece of shit president, and this idiot right here.
It's not a black thing nor a white thing, it's a race thing.
I don't even understand what he said. I mean, I heard the words that came out of his mouth, but what does that mean? Then there are people who own guns. People who own guns think about it a certain way. And then the fourth kind of person are those who carry guns daily. Now, let me tell you a little bit about me that I've not really told you guys on the internet. I'm sure you've assumed this for a long time. I'm originally from Tennessee. I lived, born and raised there, lived 30 years. I'm in Florida now. I've been here for almost 10 years. I have legally carried a firearm for the last 15 years. Legally carried firearm on or around my person for the last 15 years. Now, when you carry a firearm, you know the laws. That was the thing coming out after the trial. Oh, there are a bunch of legal experts on Facebook. Well, you know, you need to watch what you say about who's the legal expert, because some of us know the effing law, because some of us carry firearms legally on a daily basis, and we do know the effing laws. And back in Tennessee, I used to run an organization and a website called Legally Armed in Tennessee, and basically we kept people updated on the laws, and when the laws changed about, you know, carrying firearms and where you can carry firearms. As a matter of fact, our organization and group lobbied because you used to couldn't carry in Tennessee anywhere that alcohol was served. That was bars, restaurants, and liquor stores. Well, we lobbied so that we could carry. Nobody wants to carry in a bar. Nobody wants to carry in a liquor store. But we lobbied and got the law passed where we could carry in restaurants that made more than 50% of their income from food as opposed to alcohol, because coming out of a restaurant at 10 or 11 o'clock at night into a dark parking lot, you're very vulnerable and you need your firearm on you. Not to mention, that's the time of night when restaurants are closing down and people are going to come in and rob the restaurant, and you need your firearm on you. And that leads me into the Florida statutes. Now, Florida statute, I'm going to leave links to these below, 790, are all about firearms and, you know, the laws behind them and who can carry firearms and whatnot, and this, that, and the other. You know, basically you have to have a Florida permit or a permit from another state with a reciprocity, which I had from Tennessee, and reciprocity means that Florida will recognize Tennessee's permit, Tennessee recognizes Florida's permit, but you have to go by the laws of the certain state you're carrying in. And then also Florida statute number 776 is basically all about self-defense And this is not stand your ground. This is just the self-defense type laws. And then stand your ground law, which was introduced into the self-defense laws. But anyway, so that's my qualifications. That's what I know about Tennessee laws and Florida laws. I've been to classes in Tennessee, several classes about laws and justifiable homicide. And basically, when you carry a firearm on you at all times, you learn every reason why to never shoot anybody for any reason. This George Zimmerman trial showed you why, if you carry legally, to never shoot anybody for any reason. That firearm should be your last resort in any situation. Now, that's my qualifications as far as what I know about the law, how much I've studied about the law. I've been to classes in Tennessee. I've been to classes in Florida. I've held a Tennessee permit for a long time. My Florida permit is on its way. When you carry a firearm legally, you're fingerprinted through the FBI, your local county, your local state. Your fingerprints are everywhere. You can't ever do anything wrong for the rest of your life. Now, let's get back to the Zimmerman trial. There were 6 women on that jury. Now, this isn't necessarily true or the fact, but I'm going to give you a rough estimate. I think 3 out of those 6 women owned firearms, and 2 out of those 6 women have had permits and legally armed citizens of the state of Florida. Now, like I said, when you're a legally armed citizen, you know the laws. Now, let's get into statute number 776. This is Florida statute 776. Like I said, links are below. And every state in this country has a statute just like Florida's 776. It's a self-defense law. And self-defense laws, I'm going to quote Tennessee and Florida together because they're the exact same law. Self-defense laws state that if you are in an altercation because someone has jumped you, whatever altercation you're in, if you feel that you are in imminent danger of serious bodily harm, injury, or death, you have the right to defend yourself at all means possible. Now, what does that mean? Let me break it down to you. Let's say somebody approaches you on the street, and you're like, hey, what's up, man, blah, 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 yada, yada. They start talking a little crazy. Next thing you know, they pull their backpack off. Next thing you know, they're unzipping their backpack. And you're not paying any attention. You think they might be getting a pack of cigarettes out. Then he pulls out a fucking hatchet. Are you reasonably in fear of imminent bodily injury or death? Let's say he doesn't grab a backpack. He punches you in the face, breaks your nose. You fall down on the asphalt. He starts banging your head against the concrete. Are you reasonably in fear of serious bodily injury or death and it's imminent? What about if somebody walks in, say you're managing a restaurant, somebody walks in, pulls a gun, and doesn't really point it at anybody, they're just kind of waving it around. The man has a gun. Are you reasonably in fear of imminent serious bodily injury or death? Let's say somebody's standing 3 or 4 feet away from you, and they pull out a machete. Machete's 1.5 feet long. Their arm's 3 feet long. Are you reasonably in fear of imminent serious bodily injury or death? It's what it all boils down to. This is just self-defense. No stand your ground. Are you reasonably in fear of imminent serious bodily injury or death? Which means, are you about to be seriously maimed or killed? That's the bottom line. self-defense law in all 50 states. Now, some states, over 30 of them, have done what they call stand your ground. And why they call that is basically because in the old days, if somebody came in your yard threatening you, you couldn't do anything. But if they kicked your door in and came in your house and threatened you, I mean, the minute they're in your house, you can shoot them and kill them for whatever, for nothing. If they come in your house, you're reasonably in fear of serious, imminent, serious bodily injury or death because they're in your house. If they're going to come in your house, what else are they going to do? I mean, that's just the law, the castle domain law of every state. But most states moved out into self-defense is, you know, if you're in reasonable fear of imminent serious bodily injury or death, you have the right to use justified force. Or force to stop the imminent threat. Now, stand your ground was added because some of the states, people in court, somebody would be standing 2 feet away, take their backpack off, open their backpack, pull out a hatchet, and if somebody pulled a gun and shot them, they would say, well, why did you have to shoot them? Because you could have ran away, you could have retreated. You had the duty to retreat. Well, I'm sorry, but if you're a big guy, overweight, not in shape, and some younger person, you know, maybe 17, who knows, you can't stop in the middle of a fight and be like, you know, getting your head banged against the concrete and be like, I'm sorry, before I shoot you, because a lot of people think, you know, if I shoot a child, it's going to be crazy, no matter how bad you beat me up or no matter how much of a fucking thug you are. Can I see your ID and card you so that I can make sure you're an adult so there's no controversy after the trial? No. It doesn't matter who it is, what they look like. If you are in reasonable fear of imminent serious bodily injury or death, you have the right to defend yourself. You don't have to retreat anymore. That's what they call stand your ground. Because, like I said, I was getting to, if you're a big guy fighting a fit young person that's come up on you and pulled out a hatchet or a chainsaw or whatever they pulled out, and you're a big guy, before stand your ground, you were supposed to run away. Now, I don't know if you've watched many horror movies or not, but when somebody pulls a chainsaw or a machete or something like that and you try to run away and you're not as fit as the murderer, you don't get very far, do you? No, you get hacked to pieces. So basically, if you're an overweight person that gets out of breath, maybe you're on blood pressure medications, maybe you got diabetes, maybe you can't move very fast at all for any reason, no matter what size you are, and somebody in more physical fit pulls out some kind of weapon, whether it be a rock, a sidewalk, a hatchet, a machete, you don't have to run anymore. You're not obligated to run and hide. You should have never been obligated to run and hide. Now, that's what you need to do if you can, because drawing your firearm is the last thing you ever want to do in Florida. And there's another case, I can't remember the woman's name, but I'll leave a link below, where her ex-husband was in her house, threatening her, pushing her around, and she fired a couple warning shots into the wall. You can't do that. In Florida, there's a law that we call 1020 life. And that law states that if you pull a firearm on someone in a crime, you pull a firearm on someone, you automatically get 10 years. If you pull the trigger, you get 20. And depending on how bad you hurt the other person, you get 25 to life. So I think this woman got 20 years in prison because she fired a couple warning shots at her ex-husband who was beating her up, or who had beat her, or who had laid hands on her. Let me say that. Laid hands on her. See, that's where, if you're going to carry a firearm, you have to know the laws. And you have to go by these laws, because someone laying your hand, like this man, he's bigger than her. If he punched her in the face a couple times and she had bruises and black eyes, but he pushed her around a little bit, she ran to another room, came back, grabbed a gun, fired a couple warning shots to scare him. 20 years. But see, she already retreated. Stand your ground says you don't have to retreat, but she already did. She retreated to get the gun and come back. So anyway, I hope all this makes sense to you, and if it doesn't, when you read the links below, which I'm sure most of you are too fucking lazy to do, you'll understand that your state would let this man go just like everybody else, because Stand Your Ground played no part in this. This was all self-defense. This man was in reasonable fear of imminent serious bodily injury or death. And that's every state. Every state. But anyway, I hope this all made sense. This is very passionate to me, and I hate to make this video. I didn't want to make this video, but I got to make this video. And fucking Obama and the Justice Department, and Al Sharpton, and fucking Jesse Jackson, all y'all need to shut the fuck up. Smooth Drunk Guitarist, I'm out.